I hope you're all okay and all good. Welcome to another video. My name is George. For those of you who don't know, feel free to subscribe down below if you're not already. And this is Victoria Walters. I'm pointing up because on my screen you're up, so I'm assuming when it records you'll be up there. I hope you are anyway.
Like me, so who knows?
This is Victoria Walters. How are you doing, doll?
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
I am good. So one of the things that was requested when I said I was going to do Vlogmas was to kind of get authors involved and kind of do like little chats with them. And I did my best to get round to arranging that and then failed epically.
What a surprise.
Well, like a sort of like the job came around and it was like, well, I barely have time to breathe, let alone get bunches of authors involved. But Vicky kindly agreed to feature on my channel. And we're going to have a little chat to you today about writing and writing process and books. And we're just going to kind of do like we know anything about anything, but we're just going to like do a little talk like we would normally do when we're not being recorded, but record it and see what happens and see how much of it is actually usable.
Yes.
So I've got my cup of tea.
Lovely. I've got water.
Oh, well, that's slightly less fun.
I should have put it in a festive mug.
You should have. I mean, see, that would have been very on brand. So for those of you who don't know, Vicky actually has a YouTube channel of her very own where she is the queen of cozy. And she's serving you all sorts of cozy Christmas content right now. So if that is your vibe, I will leave a link to her channel in the description box below. Vicky is also the author of, do you have your books to hand?
Oh yeah.
Vicky is the author of the Glendale Hall series. New book, Hopeful Hearts at Glendale Hall, came out in September. Available from Amazon, and it's on bookshop.org as well, and it's also in the works, I believe, as well.
Yeah, and Waterstones.
And Waterstones. See, it's in. Okay, so basically, I could have just said in all good bookshops.
You could have done, but you know.
Well, do you know what? I've learned something today. I've learned that your book is available in all good bookshops, which is always good to know. So, how's tricks? How's lockdown treating you?
Yeah, it's okay. I mean, trust me, to become a full-time author in the year where the whole world changed as well. Not only did I have a personal change, I had the world change, and I had all these plans to make sure I didn't become like a hermit writer. And then I was told I had to be a hermit writer. So yeah, it's just been me on my laptop for a year.
I mean, hard relate.
Yeah. So lots of Zoom chats with you, really.
It has been a lot. Like I feel like we've been more in touch. Like we message all the time anyway, but I feel like we've been like a little bit more in touch because of the lockdown in a weird way. I
think that's true. Yeah, I think like the year that you did your theatre course, like you were so busy, we didn't really get much chance, did we? And this year, like you say, I've done so many. To be honest, I honestly feel like before this year, I'd never actually done a video phone call.
Really?
Yeah. Like I would never usually do that. Like with my agent or anybody, we'd never done that before this year. And then it was like, why have we never done that before?
Well, that's actually true. Like I think I rarely did them.
Yeah.
Like
I guess like with friends, it'd just be like, let's meet up. So we just WhatsApp, when can you meet? We wouldn't be like, oh, let's have a video chat. We just instead. So yeah, I feel like this has been the year for me for video calls.
It really has actually. Like, I mean, I think the only person I ever used to like FaceTime with is either my friend Sam, who lives in America, or my friend Katie. And I think that was just because that was sort of a thing that we started, we did like every now and again. So it just sort of I was like, yeah, I like with like publicist, editor, like all of those things, it's happened over Zoom or Google Hangouts or something.
Yeah. So that I feel like that's been a standout for me this year. It's like
it's been a lot of that.
Yeah.
I feel like I've done less of it in lockdown 2. Obviously lockdown 2 was shorter and now we're in the tiered system. But like I feel like I did less of it in lockdown 2. I think towards the end of lockdown 1, I think everyone was a bit like, I can't do another Zoom.
I know what you mean. And I think also for lockdown 2, we knew how long it was going to be. Whereas the first lockdown, we were a bit like, how long is this going to go on for?
How do we get out of it?
I was just like, yeah. And it's weird what you get used to, isn't it? So I think we were more prepared this time around, weren't we?
Yeah. And I think like, and I mean, you talked about your full-time writerdom, and I was sort of semi-thrust into that in a weird way, because being that my like my other career is in theatre, or hopefully is in theatre, that entire like part of my life got sort of cut off from me, so I was sort of thrown into doing the full-time writer thing. So I know that we've talked in the past about our different approaches to how we like plan our days.
Yeah, we're completely opposite.
Completely opposite. So I want you to start and tell me, we'll talk about like a general like day plan, and then we'll talk about like something a bit more detailed in a minute, but like how do you like structure your day?
Yeah, well, for me, I'm more productive in the morning. I think particularly now the nights are drawing in, like as soon as it gets dark, I'm just like, I just want to get under a blanket and watch a Christmas film.
What did I say? Queen of Cozy.
Cozy. So I like to get up and get to the laptop and do most of my work in the morning, maybe like a quick break for lunch, carry on a bit. And by like, I don't know, between like 2 and 3 p.m, I start to just wind down and I end up on social media and emails, that kind of thing. And then by 3 o'clock, I'm like, that's
Done.
it.
Love you, love you, love you. Done.
Yeah, I don't know why. That's just how it's kind of gone this year. Didn't really plan it. It's just how it's, And you're like the other way around.
I'm completely the other way around. Like I will exercise in the morning. Like I'll like go for a run or whatever. I got really into running over lockdown. Like, so if anyone who watched the writing vlogs will know that most like clips start with, so I've just finished my run. So I would always like exercise in the morning, then I would like do my admin, and I wouldn't start working on like anything writing wise until like 1-2 o'clock maybe. But worse than that is that I'm also the kind of person who will be an absolute night owl. And like if Jordan was working late, I would like have my dinner or whatever, and then I would curl up and I'd start going again. And I'd just write into the night.
I have ever written at night.
Really?
Ever. Yeah, just ever. I'm not a night person at all. I like to get up early and go to bed early. So definitely for me it's the complete other way around. So weird, isn't it? Like
very strange. I mean from a personal level, I think your way is so much smarter, because like you did a video where it was like how I write 4,000 words in a day, which is like probably the amount that, I mean, that's the amount that I kind of always aspire to, like 4 or 5 if I'm having like a proper day where I want to get some writing done. Although again, if you watch the writing vlogs, that doesn't always happen. No. But I think it's so smart to kind of do that in the morning and kind of, I don't know, in a weird completionist way, it's like, well, I've completed my day. Anything I do from this point onwards is a bonus. Whereas I've just been like I'm like chasing that until like 1 a.m.
Yeah, I think so. Otherwise, like you say, then I get worried that I haven't done everything I wanted to do. And then I can always like, I don't feel guilty then, like treating myself. So like in the summer, I might have then gone for a walk, but in winter, I'll curl up with a film or something. And I don't feel guilty because I've done my work. And I think that's a nice part of working for yourself. I mean, there's pros and cons, isn't there?
Yeah.
But one of the best things is you can organise your day how you prefer it to be.
Yeah.
It's not like, and I remember like when I used to work in an office, or to be honest, I was thinking about this before we started this chat. I was thinking about being at school as well. And I really remember clock watching in the afternoon, waiting for that 3 o'clock finish time, yawning, getting sleepy. So I feel like I've always been like that. I always preferred to be productive in the morning.
See, I think I've always been more of like an afternoon evening person, because my extracurriculars were always like evening things. So I would have dance classes, or I would have trampolining classes, or I'd be doing like a theatre thing. So all of my extracurriculars were a sort of evening thing, which I guess turned me into more of an afternoon evening person. So I was always knackered in the mornings. I would like wake up at 6:30 to go to school and ride my bike, and I'd just be completely knackered. And then like
this is one of the reasons that I stopped going to like guides, because that was always on like a Friday night. And I remember like everybody, it was I'm showing my age here. It was the time when like Friends was on TV, and all my friends would be like, oh, did you see Friends last night and all this? And I'd be like, no, because I was at guides. I be at home curled up watching Friends, and yeah, that's how it's been ever since.
But yeah, I mean, see, it's interesting because like it is different strokes, isn't it? Like, I guess obviously I'm not going to be I'm not a full-time writer at the moment anyway. But like you have to kind of figure out what works for you, and if you are the kind of person who needs to structure your day, like
I just think I've always said, because when you are a writer, you do often get asked for writing tips, or like, you know, how do you write? And I just have always said, I don't think there is a right way to write. Like, I just think you've got to find what works for you personally, because there's some writers and they're like, I have to write every single day. And if I don't write every single day, I'm not a writer. That's just not me at all. If I'm not feeling it, I won't write. And I think you should have a day off personally, in whatever job you do in life. Like, I think at least one day off a week for your sanity. But that's just me.
I completely agree. Like, I think as much, I mean, like, I did a whole video that was like, NaNoWriMo's finished, what are you going to do now? And everything I said in that video, I think is completely valid. But if it doesn't work for you, then like I think with writing tips, it's very like you kind of take what you need and leave the rest.
Yeah.
Because like different things work for different people. Like, I don't write every day. If I'm having an off day, I'll either not write, or I'll read, or I'll try and push through it. But like I do have days where I just don't write at all, because I think it's different. It's different things for different people. If people need to feel the need to write every day in order to feel like a writer, that's fine. The only thing I will say that I do think is like the kind of one thing is that you have to finish what you're writing. I think there's a lot of people who like, I think because there's always, I think we talked about this a while ago, like the difficult middle bit of a book.
Oh God, yeah.
How like the middle of the book is really like, you know how it starts, you know how it ends, it's how you get there. And that's always like it's, and
because I think with jokes, like I'm like, how many more meals can my characters have? It's so funny because I just got edits back on what will be my next novel, which will be out in June next year, which will be the 4th book in the Glendale Hall series. And my editor actually put in it, oh, your books, they always make me feel so hungry, you know. And she joked, oh, maybe we need to do a Glendale Hall cookbook. And like, but I think that's because I'm like, right, what can my characters do now? I know they can all get together for a meal. And my main character in this one is a wannabe cook, so it worked out perfectly.
But I remember us talking about that, because like it's always, you're trying to figure out how you get from like A to Z, as it were, and you have to hit all the letters in the middle and make sure it's not too woolly. And why was I talking about this? Oh, that's the thing. I think a lot of writers, myself included, I think you can get bogged down in the difficult middle bit, and you reach a point where it gets too hard, so you stop. And I think like that's the point when you need to just, I skip ahead actually when I've done that in the past, when I've reached a point where it's gotten like, where it's like, oh God, I don't know how to do this, or I don't know how to write this bit. I skip to the next bit that I do know.
Yeah, so you write out of order kind of thing.
Yeah, like I'll skip to the next plot point and be like, okay, I'll fill that gap in later. Like I remember when I finished the first draft of Boy Queen, which was last November before I went to Florida, single tear. Literally the night before I went to Florida, which is really bad. It's like sent it and then was like, bye. I remember that like a week before, because I didn't think I was going to finish it on time, I sent it to my editor and I was like, there are 3 chapters missing. I'm going to try and do them, but here it is, just in case I don't.
That's so interesting. I've never done that. See, I don't think I have ever skipped ahead.
Really?
Yeah. And I actually think it's a good idea to write kind of out of order, but I'm not sure my brain works like that. You know, I'm not very logical. So I feel like I'd get really confused. And
you are logical because you can write in that order, whereas I'm illogical because I can bounce.
Oh, that's interesting. Yeah, I don't think I've ever done that, but I do get quite stressed sometimes in the middle. Yeah, and I'm like, this book is going to be 20,000 words long at this rate. Like, I need more stuff.
I think sometimes I'll like know I'll know what I'm trying to get to. like
Yeah.
I've been talking about this a lot in my writing blogs, that I've like written in like notes apps and in like planning documents, because I've got way too many documents for this new book, but like I keep on writing little bits like, oh, this will happen in a scene, and this will happen in a scene, and this will happen, and like it's figuring out where those are, and once I know what order they'll be in, I'll probably end up like getting to a point where it's like, I know I need to get to that, but I don't know how. I'm just gonna jump and write that scene, and I'll figure it out. I'll figure out how they get there later.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm always a fan of a time jump. Like, if you're really stuck, skip ahead. You know, or send the characters off somewhere, so then you can start again from a new place or a new scene. Definitely. So that can work sometimes.
Also, never finishing a writing session at the end of a chapter.
Now, you see, I always do that.
Really?
We're like so different, because I know, like, I saw someone say that they always finish like in the middle of a sentence. That would stress me out, because the next
Don't do that. That's chaotic behavior. I can't do that.
Sentence supposed to finish. No, I always tend to finish a chapter, or at least a scene, like ready to do like another scene the next day.
Oh no, see, like so I'll stop in the middle of a sentence if I'm doing like a few writing sprints in a row, and I know I've got another one coming. I will stop in the middle of a sentence, because I'll know to pick that back up again in like 5 minutes when I come back. But like, yeah, I always try and not finish at the end of a chapter, because I find it so hard jumping back in, because it feels like you're jumping in from nothing.
That's interesting.
Or it does.
I feel like I look at it as like a fresh start to the writing session. So a new chapter and a new. Oh, it's so different. This is so weird. See, so that we're right. There is no right way to write, because we both write completely differently, and we still have managed to have books.
Exactly. And I bet you if there was a third and fourth person in this conversation creating us a nice little square, I bet they would have a completely different way of doing it as well. There probably would be someone who finishes in the middle of a sentence, and probably
I've seen writers who have like each chapter on a post-it note and like all pinned up.
Nah, I want to know more about that. I want to know what that process is. Like who? No. I want to know what that is.
Yeah, I'm just not enough of a planner to be able to do that. Like you say, I know my beginning, I know where I want to get to, and the middle I just kind of work out as I go along. But maybe, probably if you plan it, it's easier. But I don't know.
Okay, so here's a point then. So we're both at the beginnings of new books at the moment.
Yes.
So what is your process when it comes to writing a book? Like, how do you dive into that? Because again, based on what you've just said, I think ours is completely different again.
I just start writing. I tend to write like a blurb, like what I think would be on the back of the book. And then sometimes I will then straight away like send that to my editor. So I did that yesterday, Monday. I sent a blurb to my editor to make sure she liked the general idea before I started, which she did, yay. And then I've just started writing.
Oh God. So do you have a plan?
What I tend to do is I tend to just start, and then I'll sort of stop and plan a bit. It's difficult because I don't think I'm meant to reveal what kind of book this is. So it's slightly different to my Glendale books. I will say that.
So how does it work with the Glendale book then? Because obviously you've done 4 of those now.
Yeah, I just start writing.
And do you just go like straight through? Yeah. Oh my God, that's kind of amazing. I'm really envious.
I know, it's good though, because like you say, I get to the middle and I'm like,
what do I do? But they work though. Like,
do you know what? Again, I actually think this goes back to school. Like, I am not a planning kind of person. Like, I remember doing exams, and there would be like my friends who would be meticulous. They'd have a timetable, they'd have post-it notes, they'd have, I've got to do this session here, and this is, and I'd just be like, oh, I'm just revising. Just in general.
I mean, I think I was similar in that sense, but like, for me, I do the same as you. So like I'll write a blurb, or like I'll write like a little thing, so it's sort of this is what the vibe is.
Yeah.
and then I also start writing. And I'll write to a point where it's like, okay, now I need to know what's going on, and that's the point I'm at now, where I like
words. I find I'm like, okay,
where
you've got like 10,000 words because you started it off, and then I'm like, right, I do need to think a little bit where this is going, and like, but I'm really bad. Like, I'll just write down random notes. So I'll be like eating my dinner. I'll be like, oh, that could happen at some point. And I'll just write a note on my phone. Whereas I guess some people just plan that all before they start.
Like, yeah, so I've got to 14,000 on this one, and then it was like, okay, George, you need to stop because you need to know what's going on now.
Yeah.
And so like I'm at the outline stage, which is where I sort of go like strapline, blurb, full outline, bullet pointed, 3-act structure, all that jazz. And like, but that's purely because, but it's really interesting because like I feel like I can't keep going. But I have done the same as you, where like I've taken like I was saying, I've got so many different documents about this book, because I'll keep on having like these random ideas, like I want this to be a scene, and I want this to be a scene, and I want this to be a scene.
Yeah.
And it's just, I'm at the point where I kind of need to plan all that out. But also,
what you think, kind of in terms of scenes. Do you have like a few sort of scenes in your mind that you want to get to? That's interesting.
Yeah, and like I sort of write all those out, and also that does mean that I can jump, because I have an outline that kind of does take me from beginning to end, and if I'm getting stuck at a bit, I can just be like, okay, I don't know what's going to happen, I don't know exactly what's going to happen here, I'll jump to this bit where I do sort of know. Interesting. I didn't know that you like pantsed your entire books.
This is why I'm like an anxious, stressed person, probably.
But it's amazing. Like I literally said this in like whenever my next writing vlog goes up, like I literally said like the way I'm sort of like somewhere in between, because I'll sort of I'll write and then I'll plot and then I'll start writing again.
I don't think I could ever post-it note each chapter.
Yeah, I think you can go into, I don't know, for me, I know that I could go into too much detail. Like it's never like this is what happens and this is what they say and this is what they're feeling and blah. It's never that. It's always like, and then this happens and then this happens and then
yeah, because my editor did laugh once, because she said like I will just send a paragraph blurb, and then like some of our other authors will send like a 6-page outline of the book.
Oh my God.
And I'm just like, here's the idea, what do you
think? Do you want this? Feel free to buy it. Bye.
This is what it is, take it or leave it.
Oh my God.
So literally on Monday, I sent her, let's see how many paragraphs I sent. So this is me telling my editor what my new book is going to be, and it's literally 3 paragraphs.
Yes. Work.
And she's just, but I think this sounds brilliant. Very excited to read it.
That's kind of amazing though. That is kind of brilliant. I love that.
So yeah, I don't know.
That's the process.
That is my process, yeah. But as I said, I'm going to be writing another series alongside the Glendale books, and it is going to require a bit more plotting because of the genre.
So you're going to have to like adjust slightly what you do.
Well, yeah, although the first book I didn't really adjust that much. I think it's the same sort of thing. I'll write the beginning because I know what's going to happen at the beginning, and then I'll stop and think about how it all needs to like come together after that, I think.
But yeah, I think it's interesting. I feel like if we had 2 other people here, we'd have someone who like that's something I saw like when NaNoWriMo was happening. I saw a lot of people that like, well, not a lot of people, but I was seeing people that like have planned out like full trilogies, start to finish, know everything that's going to happen, and it's like, and I'm just sat there like, I feel really amateur because I literally don't know what's happening in the next scene of my book.
See, I don't know if I would lose. Oh, I don't know. I feel like, would I lose a little bit of the enjoyment of writing if I knew exactly? I kind of like it when my characters surprise me, or when I suddenly get an idea that I hadn't thought of. I don't know.
Well, I like that too. And like, I remember when I was writing Boy Queen that like, even when, after it had been through edits, there were scenes that like I talked about with Rachel and Sim, who are my 2 editors on it, and they were like, maybe if we had something like this, or maybe if we had something like this, and I sort of went away and I sort of wrote some, like added in some things, and that changed different things that were going on in the plot. And we're going hilariously, it just cut out just as Vicky and I were being profound. I was just about to say that I talked about this in my writing vlogs for Boy Queen, that I also wrote chapters from the perspectives of different characters in the book. So Seth, Natalie, Robin's mum, and Greg, they all got their own like little moments.
Yeah.
Which was a way to sort of develop those characters a little bit.
Right.
And I think that sort of added to the for me, that's because it was like you were saying how you think you like it when your characters surprise you, and I think doing that, it sort of gave me an insight into how these characters were feeling about certain things.
Yeah, because that's the thing, because I as well like generally write, well, again, it's different. The Glendale series is different to this new series, but the Glendale series is all first person perspective. So like you said, you don't always know what the other characters are thinking and feeling, because you've only got the character's perspective on how they're thinking and feeling.
Yeah, exactly. So like it was nice to sort of be in other people's heads and kind of, especially with Seth, I think Seth, it was really interesting to sort of get an essence of what he was feeling going to this new school, because Seth is like a secondary character in the book, and it was interesting getting his perspective. And actually one of those scenes informed a scene that I then put into Boy Queen, which is when Robin first encounters Seth, but from like a distance rather than like actually which I think I can say because that doesn't really give away anything. Like he sees Seth on the phone like in a corridor, and I actually wrote that scene from Seth's perspective, so it was interesting to sort of put that in and sort of it was just a little bit of fun, a little bit of freedom.
That's why sometimes I put letters in my books, because I like to get the like a different perspective through like a letter.
Well, this new thing I'm writing is dual narrative, which I've not done before. So that's kind of an interesting, like, because I'm gonna have to like balance dramatic irony and like the audience knowing things about these characters, but the characters not knowing these things about each other, and that's gonna be fun.
I like that. I like it when audiences like know things that the characters don't.
Me too. And I like that when I'm reading books as well. I think that's always fun. I like to feel like I know things.
Superior.
Yes, that's all it is. I just want to feel like I know what's happening. Okay, so I think we should wrap this up in a minute, but I want to ask you if you had a writing tip that someone could take with a pinch of salt, what would you give? Because I feel like whenever I've interviewed authors in the past, this is like, I've not interviewed anyone. Actually, no, I interviewed Darren Charlton earlier on this year. That was fun. I always ask a writing tip. Because you never know if someone out there watching is going to really enjoy that writing tip. So.
I think I wish I had prepared for this question. No, I think I would say read in different genres. So I just feel like I like to read from all different genres, not just the one that I write in. And I think that helps make me a better writer, because you just get to see different ways of telling stories, different ways of character development, different plot devices, that kind of thing. Because I think also if I only read what I write, I feel like it would just become a copy and like predictable, maybe a little bit. I don't know. That's just my personal. I just like to read a range of different books, I think
that's really good advice. I like that. And what is your favorite book that you've read this year? I know that neither of us have read like huge amounts.
I think this has been one of my worst reading years. I don't know if it's because of everything going on in the world. I don't know if it's because I left my job at Waterstone, so I didn't have access to lots of books and book discounts and stuff like that. But I've really struggled to like like, I don't know, usually I like read a book and I become quite obsessive, and this year I don't know, I felt like sometimes I've had to push myself to read, which I never usually do. So I think probably the ones that stand out were what's it called, In 5 Years,
Okay.
which was I mean, it's women's fiction, and it's about someone who kind of has like a dream of where their life's going to be in 5 years' time that shocks them.
Okay.
And kind of changes. It's quite twisty and it was unexpected. So I liked that. I also read a book called Miss Austen, which is about Jane Austen's sister, and I'm a massive Jane Austen fan. So I enjoyed that one. And then recently I read The Thursday Murder Club, the Richard Osman kind of crime, and I enjoyed that one. So probably the ones that stand out the most, I think.
Lovely.
You?
Oh, me? Oh,
Yeah,
nice.
you have to do it now.
Obviously there's going to be like a full favorite books of 2020 video at some point. But things that I've read and loved this year. I loved The Black Flamingo by Dean Atter. I thought that was incredible. I just finished Clap When You Land by Elizabeth Acevedo, which was it was written in verse. It was absolutely gorgeous. I absolutely loved that. New Heartstopper was amazing. I've loved that. I
also read the Truly Devious trilogy for Talking Tea. I enjoyed that.
Who's that? Truly Devious. Who is that?
Laurie Johnson.
I've just read Let It Snow.
I've only seen the Netflix film of it.
How is it? Because I've just finished. I finished the book yesterday, so like I've so that's Maureen Johnson, John Green, and Lauren Miracle.
Yeah. I mean, I enjoyed it, but I mean, obviously, I don't know how similar it is to the book.
Interesting.
But yeah, I thought it was good. I like films where it's all different characters and they all kind of come together.
Yeah, that's always kind of good about this. Like, I was really surprised. Like, I didn't know how it was going to work because it's a weird one because it's 3 separate like novellas.
Oh, okay.
So it's like Maureen Johnson's story, then John Green's, then Lauren Miracle's, and then there are characters that cross over, and then it all sort of intersects towards the end.
Right. Interesting.
Very interesting.
Yeah, and I also enjoyed the Dash and Lily Netflix series. Again, I haven't read the book, so
I've not watched it yet. I've read the first 2 books. I wanted to read them again this month, before I watch the series. But I need to watch it before my festive feeling runs away.
Can't believe it's next week.
Oh my god! Like literally, like I was thinking about this the other day because like I was doing like my last little bit of Christmas shopping on the internet, and then I was like, oh my god, it's literally Christmas in a week. Like
crazy.
I can't.
2020 has been like the longest and the shortest year all at once.
Yeah, like it's been so long, and now it's Christmas, and now it's ridiculous. Roll on 2021, please.
Yes, cost for a good year.
Please. Okay, well, thank you so much for coming on my channel. This was really fun. We should do this again sometime, and we should. But thank you so much for watching. That is the end of this video. If you enjoyed it, don't forget to put a thumb on it and subscribe down below if you want to see more. I will leave links to Vicky's channel in the description below.
I really need subscribers, guys.
Yeah, just go hang out with Vicky. She's really fun. It's a really great, cozy content. It's really, really great. And if you made it this far in the video, please leave the snowflake emoji in the comments below. Because oh my god, you're wearing a snowflake! I didn't even plan that. That's great. I love that for me. I didn't even realize. That's the best. Maybe it's like subliminal. You've like subliminally put that in my mind. Please leave that in the comments below. I love each and every one of your faces, and I will speak to you as soon as I possibly can. Say bye with me. Bye.